We hope you enjoyed yesterday about hearing about Jesus calming the storm. Lots of different games and activities that we've done. And today there's no difference. We've got crafts, more fun, more activities. We've got a song, a memory verse, and again that drama. The two agents looked a bit funny, didn't they? And obviously, hearing a bit more about another interview about someone called Jairus. So we hope that you'll enjoy that, and we'll see you later on the Zoom call as well.
Hello, I'm Miss Moneypenny. If you remember, I met you yesterday. I work at GCHQ. I'm in charge of the agents. And I send them all over the world. Do you remember? I told you Moscow in Russia, Beijing in China, Washington in America, and of course I'm based here in London at our HQ, and Sandbach. That's our training base. Yesterday I got my agents, B&Q, to go and find out about this Jesus. They found out that this Jesus had calmed a storm when they were in a boat. He was in a boat with his friends, and his friends were really frightened, and they talked. B&Q talked to Peter, his friend, who was a fisherman, to see if this was all true. But you know, Peter and his friends were convinced it was, and they convinced B&Q too. I want to find out more about this Jesus. What does it say? It says here in my report that he could heal people. I think I want to know more about that. He healed somebody who couldn't see, a man who couldn't walk. His friends brought him to Jesus, and there he was, walking after he'd seen Jesus. And then there's a man called Jairus who had a daughter. I wonder what was wrong with the daughter. I'll get on the phone. Can you get me agents B&Q, big and quiet, please? Yes, I need them to go and investigate more about this Jesus. They say that he can heal people. I want them to go and ask about somebody called Jairus, who has a daughter. I want them to find out what was wrong and what happened to her. Okay, thank you. I'll send the information over to them. Thank you. Bye. Put the report in there, and then that'll help them to investigate further.
Hello sir, this is your cappuccino and Malteser milkshake. Yes, it's me quiet. It's me quiet. It's me quiet.
Be quiet.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll be quiet.
What are you doing?
Oh, I thought that was for me.
Coffee. Oh, thank you.
We've got another mission.
What? Mission, yes.
Yeah. From Francesca Moneypenny.
Yeah, right.
So,
can't see.
take your glasses off.
Top I know these times this is.
Yes. Remember yesterday?
Yes.
Jesus, something to do with the storm. He swam in the storm. No, he didn't swim in the storm.
No, he didn't swim.
Fished in the storm. No, that was Peter.
No. He B&Q.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
Calm the storm.
Yes.
So today it's about Jairus.
Jairus. Yes, I've heard about her. Yeah.
No. Jairus.
I've heard about him as well, and her. Them.
No, it's Jairus.
Should we read the thing and it might...
Yeah, Jairus.
Are we allowed to read these?
Yeah, but they're for us, yeah. So Jairus his daughter wasn't very well. And we've got to interview Jairus' wife.
Why is she naughty?
No. She's good. So we've got to find out from her what happened to
interrogate her?
No interrogation. No weapons.
No.
Not even anything you've got. Nothing. So we've got to find out about Yeah, about Jairus.
Yeah. Easy enough to do that.
Yeah. So find out about his daughter and why she wasn't well. And we need the help of children.
Kids.
Kids. Yes.
Kids. Right. What do we need for them for?
That we need you to help us find out more about Jairus' daughter.
Everything what he said.
And the crafts.
Yes. Crafts are?
The binoculars.
Binoculars.
Yes, not the...
No, not them. No.
Yeah, so use your binoculars to find out more about Jairus. So I think we should go. I should probably
Put that on
quit my job.
Put that on your hat again.
Yeah, I should probably go back and say I'm not working this afternoon.
I definitely would.
Yes, right. Should we go and find Jairus then?
We'll find Jairus.
Today's story is called Jairus' Daughter. People were pressing in on Jesus from every side as he tried to make his way through the town. Jairus was also struggling through the jostling crowd. He could see the top of Jesus' head, and there was a sea of faces between it and him. Jairus was an official at the synagogue. He'd spent most days there praying, but he'd not received the answer that he'd wanted. He had to reach Jesus. There was no other hope. He'd heard tales of the amazing wonders Jesus had performed. Perhaps, if he could just get through this crowd, perhaps. Elisheva scurried around the edge of the great pressing crowd. She'd spotted Jesus coming up from the lake and had noted the long white cloak he was wearing. She couldn't see his face. The people around her seemed to tower over her. But then she couldn't stand up straight. The pain was too much to bear. But she caught glimpses of the white cloak as he was pushed through the throng by his disciples. She realized that she probably wouldn't be able to get close enough to speak to him. People were already pushing her aside as they recognized her face. One man had even kicked her and told her to clear off. But if she could just touch that white cloak, then perhaps it would take all her strength, but perhaps. "Jesus! Jesus!" cried Jairus. He was very close now. "Teacher, please!" he yelled. Jesus turned towards the desperate voice and moved towards it. The crowd parted a little upon seeing Jairus and fell quiet. A whisper passed amongst the peering faces as Jairus fell to his knees before Jesus. Elisheva saw her chance. There was a gap as people stopped jostling and turned their attention to Jairus. She gently eased her way through, clutching at her belly, stifling a groan as the pain doubled her up. "Teacher, my daughter is very ill, very ill. Please, I beg you, come to her. I know she will be better if you place your hands upon her," pleaded Jairus. Jesus smiled and nodded, and the crowd parted for him as Jairus led the way to his house. Elisheva gave up a little cry as she saw the white cloak sweep forwards. With all the strength she could muster, she pushed herself on and stretched out with her hand. Jesus stopped and looked around him. Jairus stopped too and desperately looked around him. "Please, teacher," he beckoned. Jesus held up his hand to Jairus. "Who touched me?" Peter took his elbow. "Lord, everyone is touching you. The crowd is so big." "No, I felt power go out of me." "Who touched me?" The crowd started muttering. Elisheva took a big breath and pushed her way through. She was strong and straight now. The pain vanished. She knelt before Jesus, and the muttering became an ugly grumble. She looked into Jesus' face, and tears began to roll down her cheeks. "It was me, Lord. I had been so ill. 12 years. I just thought, if I could just touch your cloak, then perhaps... Jesus lifted her to her feet and smiled. My daughter, your faith has made you well. A man rushed towards Jairus. Don't trouble the teacher any more. Jairus, your daughter... Jairus turned to Jesus, and tears began to roll down his cheeks. I just thought that perhaps... Jesus took him by the arm and smiled. Don't be frightened. Just believe. Taking only Peter, James and John with him, Jesus followed Jairus to his house. People had gathered and were crying and wailing in grief at the loss of the little girl, just 12 years old. Jesus sent them all away and went into the little girl's bedroom where she lay on her bed, looking as if she were asleep. He knelt beside her, took hold of her hand and said, Talitha koum, which means, get up, little girl. The little girl's eyelids flickered and opened, and a smile spread across her face as she looked into Jesus' eyes. He turned to Jairus and her mother. She's hungry. Get her something to eat. And he left, leaving a sea of astonished faces.
Hi kids, so for the next craft what you need are these 2 sheets, okay, that you should have in your bag, right, and a set of something like these. And all you need to do first off, before we do anything else, is colour in the 2 sheets. Any colour you want, it doesn't matter how you do it, but don't cut them out just yet, colour them in. Okay? See you in a bit. There we go, job done, coloured in. Now the next thing we have to do is cut all the pieces out. You ready? Ta-da! There we go. And there we have. There's Jairus' daughter. And there's Jesus. And as you can see, Jesus says, get up, little girl. And as Jesus says, get up, little girl, up she gets. Eh? And that's the power that Jesus has. She was just asleep. So kids, cutting it out, it is a little bit fiddly. Okay. And on the sheet that's got the mat, yeah, leave the bottom intact. Don't cut the bottom. I don't go cutting round the mat. Yeah, so don't cut round the mat. I did that. It's a mistake. Yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to bend that sheet. You're going to fold that sheet L-shaped. Okay. So cut the pieces out. If you're struggling, tell us on Zoom. The table in the background there, that's the most fiddly bit to cut out. But the colours are up to you. Make it as colourful as you want. And there we have it. Jairus' daughter, and there's Jesus in the background. Right? Have fun doing it. Take your time. It is fiddly. Send your pictures in to Catherine, and also show us on Zoom, will you? It'd be great to see them. Okay. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Hello children, yes, we're going to make our own disguise masks so that people might not recognise who we are. So when we want to do our secret agent things, that people won't work out who is behind the mask. So what you're going to need for this is a paper plate. I've got half one, but I'm just going to use half. A lollipop stick, and then some glue or some scissors, some glue or some tape, just to make sure it's attached properly on the back. And then some things to decorate with. I am just going to use lots of different Sharpies and colouring pens. Use whatever you've got at home, and I'm sure yours will look fantastic. I would love to see your creations a little bit later on. So hopefully you've cut out some holes or have some holes cut out for the eyes. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to decorate mine to make mine look so nice so people won't recognise who I am. So add whatever colours you like. You can add some pinks, or you can even kind of glue on some things if you like. I'm just going to colour it in though to show you my example, and yours are going to look fantastic, I'm sure, even better than this. Well, even far better than this, I'm sure. Let's go for a different colour now. Let's see, I'm going to use some yellow. I think I'm going to add a bit of black now, so make it look even more disguising. Because remember, that's what we're trying to do, make sure that people don't recognise who we are. There we go. That's our mask. So what we just need to do now is put a lollipop stick on the back of it. So if you've got some tape, then all you need to do is just get a bit off and tape your lollipop stick either to the side or in the middle, and then make sure it's properly stuck down. And there we go. It's done. So we would love to see your disguises. I can see you through there. Hopefully you can see me. Or you could maybe make an animal. This is another one of mine. I can see you through there. Or you could just make something completely different. See through there. That was a bit more strange. So yeah, why don't you have a go? Anything that would look like a disguise. As I said, it doesn't have to be half a plate as well. It could be a whole plate. And I'm sure you're going to make something even better than these. Have lots of fun, and we'll see you later. I think this is Jairus' wife.
Yeah.
Oh!
This is her.
No interrogation, no weapons.
No, I was putting them up there for their down. Yeah. No.
Oh, hi, Jairus' wife.
Hi. Who are you two?
We are secret.
Questioners,
yes.
Interviewers, yes.
Okay.
So we're just here to hear about your daughter.
I know. Do you want me to tell you all about it?
No, well,
Yeah.
I could tell you, I could talk all day about this, but do you know? Oh, we've got the most beautiful daughter. And a few days ago, it was just so awful. She became ill. We weren't sure what was wrong with her. And we were holding her hand, and her dad, Jairus, that's my husband, was holding her hand, and I was holding her hand, and we didn't know what to do. Then somebody said that Jesus was in town. Jesus was in town, and that Jesus could heal. So my husband, Jairus, had this idea. He said, I'm going to go to the town, and I'm going to ask Jesus to heal our daughter. I believe he can. And then he went to town, and there was a massive crowd. A massive crowd was round Jesus, and they were all wanting to get close to him and everything like that. And Jairus just couldn't get to Jesus. I mean, he was wondering what to do. Then he did, and he said, Lord, will you come and heal my daughter? She's so ill, she might die. And Jesus said he would. It was incredible. He said he would do it. That's amazing, isn't it?
So what happened then?
Well, what happened next was Jesus was making his way to our house, and it was all going well, and Jairus thought, this is amazing. And then Jesus said, who touched me? Who touched me? Yeah. And he looked around the crowd, and this woman, she came forward, and she said, I touched you, Lord. I touched you. And Jesus said, I felt the strength and power going through me. And then she said, I'm healed, because she'd been sick for a very long time. And she was healed. But then Jairus was thinking to himself, Lord, please hurry, because our little girl is ill.
Wow. So did he get there in time?
Well, he was going down the street, and he was following Jesus, and Jesus was making his way. And then they got to the end of the street, and by that time, she died. And everybody was crying, and I was crying. It was awful. I was crying as well. It was terrible. But then, Jesus said to everyone, she's only asleep. And he made us all go out, everybody, even me. And I am like that with my daughter. Like that. And even I had to go out. And do you know what happened next?
No.
Do you know what happened next, kids? Well, what happened next was Jesus, he brought her back to life. She got up off the bed, and she sort of shook herself down. And at this point, her dad and I, we were allowed to go back in again. She said, hi, Mum. Hi, Dad. What's the matter? Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather, because he healed her. Jesus had healed her. And Jairus' daughter, and my daughter, she was alive again.
So Jesus actually did this?
Yep, he did. He can heal people, and he can bring people back from the dead.
That is incredible. And I think, as I said, we've heard about Jesus calming storms and now healing.
B&Q.
No. So, thank you so much.
Yes.
Jairus'
daughter.
Jairus'
I'm Jairus' wife.
Jairus' wife.
His wife, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, that's incredible. I think we need to go and do some more.
I better get on with this sweeping.
That's amazing, that story. I can't believe that.
Morning. It's that time of day again for our memory verse. You ready? Today we're going to put in the third line. Here we go. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him... Can you say it together? For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him... Should we try it without the words? For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him... And tomorrow, we'll have the rest of the verse. See you later. Bye.
The world is searching for an answer, a ray of hope in a hopeless world. Who can we turn to? Where is our rescue? There is someone, he's the answer. He's the light and he'll light the way. His name is Jesus, and he came to save us. He is the light, 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 light of the world, and he shines, shines, shines all over the earth, shining bright, bright, bright. He is the light of the world. He is the light, 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 light of the world, and he shines, shines, shines all over the earth, shining bright, bright, bright. He is the light of the world. Searching for an answer, a ray of hope in a hopeless world. Who can we turn to? Where is our rescue? There is someone, he's the answer. He's the light and he'll light the way. His name is Jesus, and he came to save us. He is the light, 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 light of the world, and he shines, shines, shines all over the earth, shining bright, bright, bright. He is the light of the world. He is the light, 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 light of the world, and he shines, shines, shines all over the earth, shining bright, bright, bright. He is the light of the
Hello, we're back again, and I've got the report from B&Q, from Big and Quiet. I'm going to see what they've said about this man called Jairus. They went to see him and asked him what happened. Well, it sounds like an absolute tragedy. It says here his daughter was so poorly she was going to die. So he went to ask Jesus to come and make her better. Yes, that's right. Wow. By the time Jesus got there, she died. Oh dear. Oh, I can't believe that. Surely not. Do you know, Jesus took hold of her hand and told her to get up, and she did. He had brought her back to life. That's amazing. I think we need to investigate even more about this Jesus. There's clearly something very special about him.
Hi kids, hope you enjoyed today. We'll see you in a bit on the Zoom call. Don't forget, we're dressing up as superheroes today. Have a go doing your crafts again. Yesterday's were absolutely fantastic. See you at 11:30. See you later.